that just was demanding without giving any space for recovery or rest or anything. And that's how it came to a kinder lifestyle and being kinder with myself, because anything that you pull too much will snap eventually. And when we make sure that we lubricate whatever that's so that it doesn't snap, that we are not pulling too hard, that there is a moment where it's perfect, you don't have to do too hard or too less. And burnout helped me because I needed to listen to my body. I was obliged to listen to it. It was so tired and it felt so mistreated that I was like, okay, I need to build a better relationship by giving it space and then be more like in tune with it, because it was the only way for me to go back to my objectives and goals. And I am the competitive Basma of before. It's just that I'm a much kinder version of myself now, and it's much more. I feel more harmony in general with it.
Welcome to the Poopism Podcast, where gut health gets real, stigma gets flushed, and your story finally has a seat at the table. I'm Barbie Chapman, integrative health coach and founder of Poopism, and I'm on a mission to make digestive wellness less overwhelming, more empowered, and yes, totally okay to talk about. Together, we're redefining our relationship with gut and bowel health, shifting the conversation from shame and silence to understanding and care. Each episode shares honest, heartfelt stories from people who have been dismissed, misdiagnosed, or overlooked, yet found the courage to trust their bodies and reclaim their health. Whether you're beginning your gut health journey, facing a chronic illness, or wanting to share lessons learned along the way, this podcast is a space where your experience matters. We also welcome practitioners and experts who offer compassionate insights and practical guidance to support you every step of the way. If you're ready to get organized, get answers, and get back in control of your health, you're in the right place. Let's make our number twos a number one conversation. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult a medical professional or doctor for your health concerns. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Poopism Podcast. My name is Barbie Chapman, and I'm the founder and health coach, leading a movement that's making our number twos a number one conversation. It's time to start flushing stigma and taboos down the toilet and having real conversations about our gut health and digestive care, because our stories matter. I'm incredibly excited for today's guest, Basma Aziz. Wait till you find out how we met. But before we do, I would like to share a little bit more about who she is. Basma is an entrepreneur and a wellness advocate. She has a company called AKL Consultancy, which stands for A Kinder Lifestyle. She facilitates conversations around vulnerability and rest to help people and organizations prevent burnout. Basma is known for her authenticity, creativity, kindness, and ability, and I can 100% underline that, because when I met Basma, in the first 5 minutes, she saw me. We met in Amsterdam at a workshop around productivity, and she was the one that initiated the conversation. She looked right at me and said, "You feel like chatting?" And I said, "I do, actually." And from that moment, we built a connection around authentic conversation and kindness. And she's actually been an inspiration and a reminder that it's okay to rest. Healing is important, and that burnout is a process that we heal from. And that's why I would like to have her on today's show to talk about her journey and all of the information and the wealth of knowledge that she holds to inspire you. Basma, welcome.
Thank you, Barbie. Thank you for having me today. And I'm very excited to join you in this journey and all the conversation that we're going to have today.
Oh, so excited. From Amsterdam to here, shout out to Eventbrite.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for connecting us, for allowing the space, basically.
Absolutely. I remember just at the beginnings of, again, we met in February, but we jumped right into conversation. I think it was like a week or 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
To keep that conversation going. And again, you've been an inspiration in the work that you're doing, in the podcast that you also have around the importance of rest and this corporate culture that a lot of folks are working in and are trying to navigate burnout, which in my case, it touched me because burnout, where, it's not just my previous employer, but just throughout life, really had a big toll on my gut health and my nervous system. So I'm curious, in the work that you've been doing, the personal journey, let's start there. What was the stopping point for you when you realized it was time?
The stopping point was I was on a trip with my friends, and it was around Christmas time. And I remember we were walking the streets. We were in Istanbul, and it was like our yearly trip when all of us friends, like girlfriends, meet so that we can spend time together. And we were going up a street, and then I felt tired while we just started. And I also started to feel that my ear was really like ringing, which were feelings that I was like, it was something new. I was feeling tired leading up to that time, but having things together was something that was like very scary. Because also technically you're on vacation, technically you're relaxed, technically you should be having a good time, yet my health was not okay, even if I was resting, sleeping, being with like friends that I love and a space that felt safe.
Yeah.
So after that trip, when I went back to work, things just escalated so fast. I started to have panic attacks. I started to have hyperventilation. I started to really be so worried to go to the office every morning. And even at the office, I couldn't really focus. I had brain fog. And even if I was at a job that I really liked and I enjoyed, and I felt like, yes, I'm excited about this year's objectives and projects, yet I felt very far away from it and like I didn't want to do it. So when all of these things came together, and especially the crying every morning before work, felt so not normal. Like it's not something that I'm supposed to experience as a 26-year-old going to the office where my team was okay, my manager was okay, my job was nice. And that was the tipping point where I was like, okay, I really need to go to the doctor. And it was a specific moment that made me go to the doctor, which was again, like I was, it's also, like I was saying, I was walking and felt tired. This one, I was at the gym. I went to a class and then I felt like I couldn't do it 15 minutes in. So I called actually the doctor panicking, being like, I feel like something is not okay. And they booked me the next day. And that's how I knew I had burnout, something I've never heard before at that point. This was in 2018. So, and then the journey started from there to understanding what it is, what can I do, and all of the elements around it.
Wow. I mean, just seeing like how you're talking about it, it's just so, I can connect with it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like, yes, you reached out to the doctor, but I'm actually curious about that vacation. When you were in Istanbul, when you felt that ringing in your ear and the fatigue, at any point, did you tell any of your friends what you were feeling, or did you hold it in?
I did tell my friends. They also noticed that I was very tired. Because usually I am an energetic person. I like to do things. I am quite patient as well with people. And they noticed that I was not as patient as usual, that I was irritated, that I would get tired fast. And especially that ringing, because it was literally that I was just stopped and it was Christmas. It was very nice. It was going to dinner. So it was a super nice moment when they just were like, what's going on? And at that point, my friends told me that, Basma, this is not normal. You've been telling us that you've been tired. You've been telling us that you're experiencing certain things. Mm-hmm. And when you put them together, this is not okay. Because we were about the same age as well. So they could also relate to like how a body at that age would function in a way. And they also had jobs. We were all 9-to-5ers. So, and they were like, no, this is not normal. Something is off and you need to check it. Yes. Whatever it would be. But at no point did we think burnout. We didn't even know what that was. It was just something needed to be checked. You have to go to the doctor and you have to take a break. Which when we did the discussion on me taking a break, I was like, but I am on a break. Like, how is this going to help?
Right.
Because having those sensations on vacation felt so off. You're like, but I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. How come I am feeling these things?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like even on the vacation, your body, the nervous system, it's just still holding on to everything, right?
Yeah, correct. And I think that's also, I realized later that it's the fact that I was on vacation that my body allowed itself to fully give me some symptoms. Because when I am at the workplace, it needs to hold fort and it really needs to be strong. But when I was on vacation with my friends in a city I love, it felt kind of, okay, I can tell her more. I can talk to her. I tell her that something is off. Please take care of me. Which later on, I mean, now I can see how, our body is such a strong communicator, but we're very good at dismissing it. We are very good at like focusing on the mental, being like, no, I'm strong. I can do this. I have the, strength and power and determination. The body just takes it. It's like, okay, I can help you in this. But there's a point where it's like, please take care of me. Look at me. I'm tired. And I find that very beautiful when we get to see this later.
Absolutely. Oh, I mean, the fact that you just said like the mental aspect, like you continue to strive and continue to push, it's like the body's like sending signals and whispering to us. I'm curious because the gut is considered our second brain.
Mhm.
At any point, did you feel any stomach discomfort, any butterflies, changes in just the overall stomach? I'm just curious.
Definitely. I think nowadays when I talk with people about burnout in general, I always make sure to remind them to listen to their digestive system because I feel it's one of the first places that give you a signal that something is off. And for me, it was waking up nauseous every morning. And now it is always a thing that whenever I wake up nauseous, I know that I'm not okay. And I have to take the day easy and talk to myself and see what's up, what is happening, talk to my body, be like, okay, what have I done that was not all right? And that feeling of nausea, because I'm very sensitive when it comes to nausea, so I experience it in general. I have what is it called? Like when you travel and then you get nauseous.
Yeah, motion sickness.
Motion sickness, yes. I have motion sickness. So I'm very aware of how it feels to be nauseous, unfortunately. So when I started to feel that in the mornings or before going to important meetings or even before going to sleep, it was just too much. Like, how can I function with that nausea? And then it started to also be, because there was also another point later on where I felt there was a rock in my stomach. Like it just felt I can't eat. And it was just a rock. And it was very confusing again because I'm like, okay, what does this mean? But then when I went to the doctor, he told me that I had an acidic stomach and I actually should eat. I was not eating properly. So I think the digestive system always tells us and gives us information. And then we, again, because I think we're also used to pills, on the counter pills. You just like pop something and like, I will fix it.
Yes.
But it's not that. It shouldn't be like that. I think, as you said, it's the second brain and it gives us a lot of information. And also, I think going to the bathroom also is something that gives us signals, yet we don't pay attention because you just flush and leave. So I think this nausea was something really big for me.
I'm curious about the flushing and leaving piece. So you were experiencing the nausea, waking up, and you're like, okay, my body's telling me something. When you were in the bathroom, I'm curious, did you look before you flush?
No, I never did. And I only did it after I realized that there's a lot of messages that we also can understand from our from when we go to the bathroom.
Yes.
But it's something that I do now, but I didn't do before. I never paid attention. Whatever. The only like formats I knew was either you're okay, you go and then that's it. It goes easy. Either you're constipated and then I suffer, or it's runny and then I suffer as well.
Right.
But like, what to understand from this? I never connected it to something being off. I just connected it directly to food. You're just like, maybe I ate something bad, or maybe I didn't have enough water, enough fibers, but nothing to being tired or mentally struggling or something like that. Never did.
Wow. I'm curious so fast forward to today, it sounds like you have a better relationship with your bowel health.
Definitely.
Mm.
Definitely.
Yeah. So on a day-to-day, is it something that you journal and document, or it's just you keep it in the back of your head, like, okay, on this day it was this consistency?
I got into the habit of looking before I flush.
Okay.
So this is something just to see how the consistency is, how the color is, just to gather that information, because it tells me if I am healthy or not, just an idea. I don't document it per se, like I don't have a journal, but I do clock when it's something that is not, it's either towards constipation or towards runny. Then I'm like, okay, I think something, it's either food or now I consider my mental health as well. And then I try to connect if something is off. Usually, for example, when I travel, this is common, I think, that you get constipated.
Yes, it is.
But when it takes really long for it to be fixed, I'm like, are we stressed about this trip? Are we not in a safe environment? Are we having a lot of like uncertainty or clashes or something like that? So that I can also help my mental to also figure it out. Yeah.
Can you walk me through a day in a life of, if it's, you look down before you flush and it's like, today's a mental day. What would that day look like? What would you eat? How would you take care of yourself?
If I look and it's something is off, then I'll probably drink more water, because I would think, okay, I need to hydrate so that my body gets hydration first. I'll probably also sit with myself and see, okay, how were the last days or the last weeks? Specifically the last days, did we experience something that is more stressful? Did we hear something we didn't like? Are we apprehending something? Is a project coming up that I need to deliver on and I'm stressed about it? So I try to see if there's any discomfort in general that I'm not expressing to myself. I'm just going through it. And then if that's the case, I just tell myself that, okay, if we are stressed about this, I try to bring myself back to calm, to make my nervous system feel safer again and go back to neutral, so that it can manage itself going forward. And usually I would, if this is also with stomach pain. I mean, we have my mom and my grandma always recommended taking cumin because it just helps the stomach calm down. So I would also consider taking cumin or drinking like thyme tea. So I would usually go to natural remedies before I would go to medication.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but something very soothing, water and lemon, but anything to both help mentally to like find out what's going on, but also something to the body so that it also, so two powers to say, everything is okay, everything is okay.
Yes. Your self-awareness and just like whole body awareness is just really, it's beautiful. Because, I mean, this is our temple. It's our friend. It's the only one that we get, right, in this lifetime. And it sounds like the journey that you've been taking has, yes, it's gut health. Yes, it's, okay, I'm looking through for a flush, but it's really building a really kind, like you said, in your bio, just like this kind, creative, authentic, and making people feel seen. It sounds like you do that for yourself as well.
Yeah, I think as much as burnout recovery was super difficult and took time, and it was very like it shattered me, basically. It shattered everything that I was. And when I compare myself with who I was before my burnout, I was someone who's I'm a competitive by nature, and I'm someone who really is stubborn. So if you give me a goal, I give myself a goal, nothing will stop me. And I'm very harsh when it comes to doing things. Like we should not make mistakes. We should just go for it until we get it. And I did not believe in limitations. Like, what are we talking about? What limits? What are we talking about? And post burnout and understanding that I do have limits, but also the voice that I was speaking with to myself that was very, very square and very harsh and very demanding. It was just like this person that just was demanding without giving any space for recovery or rest or anything. And that's how it came to a kinder lifestyle and being kinder with myself, because anything that you pull too much will snap eventually. And when we make sure that we lubricate whatever that's so that it doesn't snap, that we are not pulling too hard, that there is a moment where it's perfect, you don't have to do too hard or too less. So, and burnout helped me to, because I needed to listen to my body. I was obliged to listen to it. It was so tired and it felt so mistreated that I was like, okay, I need to build a better relationship by giving it space and then be more like in tune with it. Because it was the only way for me to go back to my objectives and goals. And I am the competitive Basma of before. It's just that I'm a much kinder version of myself now. And it's much more, I feel more harmony in general with it. So if someone is going through burnout right now, I always tell them that, look, if you actually give space for yourself and for all of the sides of yourself, you're going to be a better version of yourself later, where you're going to build a different relationship with yourself. And it gets better if you connect with your body, and if you listen to your body, and if you go back to giving space to all the elements in you, the mental, the emotional, the physical. Yeah.
I can plus one that and say that is, I'm a living, breathing, walking testimony for that as well. How I got to Amsterdam and the reason why I was there for a gut health conference, scrolling through Eventbrite, looking for ways to connect with community. Like, that's all steeped in wanting to continue the healing process, right? I was like on this journey. I had been on a work sabbatical last year and still into this year, and exploring ways to better my life from the inside out, right? And it's amazing when you start that work. It's hard. You lose a lot. It's very hard, but what you gain, it's so beautiful. You gain amazing connections, friendships, new ways of eating. It's a whole mind shift. And I'm curious, as you think about the process that it took, one, I'm curious how long it took. And once you realize, like, this is my journey, how did your business evolve from that point?
What was the first question again? I already forgot.
Look at me stacking questions. You're not supposed to do that. So the first question is, how long did this journey take? And if you're still on it, give us a snapshot of how it feels.
When I get asked this question, I don't want to scare people by saying it took years, but at the same time, I want to give people the right answer. Because I remember when I was looking at this question, when I was just diagnosed, I found a lot of people bounced back after 6 months. And I felt so far away from those 6 months already when it was month one. Because I just felt like, how is this going to even be possible to recover from 6 months? But it also meant that I was really deep into my burnout. It was really deep in. It became physical, mental, it was everything. My journey was, 2018 until 2025. So I would say until 2023, that's when I started to feel that my energy levels was at a level that I can trust it and that I can function with it in the world expectations level. All the time before that, so year 1, year 2, year 3, so 2018, so 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. So for 6 years, it has been really taking it easy and being very, very careful with my energy and how I spend it, and trying as much as possible to really put my body first, like my health, like that first, regardless of what my mental would want. Like, yeah, you should start this company, you should travel more, you should meet people more, you should be more social. I'm like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So it was difficult because every year came and I was like, wow, this is still ongoing. I went back to work and I moved countries in all of this process. Like, it's not that life stopped, but I really only felt that my energy was something that I can play with more in the last 2 years, if it's not literally just the last year, where I could know that I could push more and not regret it. All the times before, I would push just a little bit, right away nauseous, right away feeling panic attack creeping in, right away. So, and I think I really want to. This is something I also do. Like, I always want to tell people that it's okay that it takes time. It's not, you're not doing bad by taking time. When in month 4, I went back to my doctor, and then he told me, Basma, you're not healing fast enough. Barbie, this I think I'm gonna have it forever and think about it forever. But it was so tough to hear. Like, literally, you're failing at healing. How can this even be a sentence that you can tell anyone? So I made it really my whole life to be like, you know what? I don't care. It's gonna take the time that it's gonna take, because I know my body. I am inside of myself, not him, not the doctor.
Exactly.
And it's his job to bring me back to the workforce. So I understand. I not understand, but I see where he comes from. It was about, sending me back to work. But it's important to take the time. Just the same time we've been on this earth for some time, deconstructing things, unlearning, fixing takes time. And it's a better result because you take time.
We had that second question that I had stacked earlier, but I have to go back to the doctor. So I'm curious how you responded in that moment.
I think I cried because it's just the sense of failure at something that you don't have any control over. And I also told him, what do you want me to do? Like, it's not something that what do you want me to do? And that's when he suggested taking medication so that I can help myself. And that also felt off for me, because I was like, you're not trying to help me. You're, again, trying to just get me to the workforce, and I do not agree with this. But again, I need to go back to the workforce, and I can't just be on sick leave forever. So there were a lot of feelings of, okay, I also need to show up for my job, and I need to show up for my employer, and I need to go back to my team, versus a feeling of, but no, I'm still feeling like literally like day one, I'm not any better.
Right.
So when he suggested the medication, first question was, did you ever take medication before telling me to take medication? Because I think sometimes I'm happy that he didn't suggest medication as on day one, because this is also quite common that a lot of doctors suggest medication just for people to feel a little bit better right away. So I'm not against medication per se, but I find when they give it at first is not really not giving space for the person to listen to their body. You directly jump into numbing things, trying to fix things. Sometimes you have to sit in the pain. It's not sometimes, you always have to sit in the pain so that you can, that's life, it's a coin with both sides. So then seeing that I needed to go back to the workforce and that, I need to get better, I took that suggestion of taking medication, and then asked different people, friends and family, to see what should I do. But it stayed with me that later on, I really always thought, that doctor, I'm not going to take it against him, because eventually we talked about it. I mean, we had a conversation about it. And this is how I got to understand that it was about taking me back to the workforce. Like, he understood that, yes, it's not something I should tell you, but it is what it is. Everyone's just trying to do their job. So
yeah. But it sounds like even in that moment, you shared that you had a emotional reaction, but you still asked questions. And you advocated for yourself, even in that moment of feeling the burnout.
I did. And a lot of times, because I also have different clients and friends as well that got diagnosed recently. And it reminded me of all of the experience again. Every time I have someone I work with, I go back to my own journey. And there's this out of body experience sometimes that you go through when a doctor is talking to you, whether it's a doctor, a therapist, psychiatrist. Literally, you're just there, and later on, you're like, "Wow, I said this, and I thought this, and I reacted like this," and you could also see the different parts in you, like that, operate on autopilot. Um, so I think even at that moment when I cried and then I still asked questions, I mean, you can clearly see that I'm very, like, I want to heal. I want to feel better. I want to do that, but this doesn't feel right. So it was like, yes, I want to, but this hurts. So this out of body experience is always something that is very fascinating, because you do things and you say things and you answer, yet you wouldn't have thought that you would do that.
And that, yeah, like you look back, you're like, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious so you've been on this journey, you were advocating for yourself. How did you turn that power and those hard conversations and those moments into the work that you're doing today? I mean, you just said it, like clients and friends and helping them. How is your business helping others?
I remember feeling very alone when this happened. So my work is very focused on making people feel less alone and feel seen and feel that they're not crazy. This is not something that is weird and you're not a failure. I think because a lot of overachievers are the ones who experience burnout, and feeling a sense of failure is not something we deal with very well. Like you're just, winning, I'm a winner. And when you feel that you kind of failed yourself, or sometimes you feel that you failed your workplace, you failed your boss, you failed your family, you failed your kids, it can make you feel alone, that I'm the only one who has failed. So my work is a lot about making people feel seen and feel okay with it, and also giving them a lot of hope and a lot of tools that you can get better, and your life can actually switch to be extremely, extremely joyful and happy and fulfilling. And I do it a lot through storytelling and through like really bringing people to see what is in themselves, but also connect with the fact that the failure that you're feeling is not your failure, is a systemic failure. We're here and we're experiencing this because we are not built for how the world functions at the moment and the expectations. So also taking a bit of that guilt away from people, like, no, it's not your fault. It's absolutely not. We were wired and we were literally coded to think this is what we should do and run. Nobody told us that it's not right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think systemic failure is something that I bring a lot and I talk about a lot. Like, don't blame yourself. It's not you. You're not the person to blame.
I was going to ask for a keynote like that, drive us home, and you said it, like, it's not your fault.
No, I think, and that's also how it shows up in the body, because if our bodies could handle this much, we would not be feeling like this, Our bodies are so smart, so smart. And they give us signals that, hey, the system is not right. The speed you're going with, the format, different things. And this also because now I am an entrepreneur, I work for myself. And I remember also at work, when I wanted to be promoted after I went back to my job, I think 2 years in, I wanted to be promoted to have a team. So I wanted to manage a team. Yet they told me, oh no, because you have the label, didn't say it like this, but because I had the label of burnout, I was considered that I can't handle stress anymore. And every time now I'm like, look at me now. Do you know what's the stress that I have to handle at the moment? I am a 10 people power machine. You need to see what stress really means at the moment. And that's also the thing, like you really learn how you can handle your own stress so you can always close the cycle and you get better. So there's a lot of things I bring for friends and work and every time I speak. Because yes, it gets better and you can, make a world for you that actually feels much better, much safer for your body.
Absolutely. I I mean, I feel like we could have a second series on or a workshop just on that conversation. I love how you said close the loop on stress. Again, you really bring home the message around knowing yourself, understanding your body is so key to our healing journey. Sitting in that pain, of course, having a community or finding a community that can support sitting in that pain is that maintaining safety, but going back inside in that journey is truly, I always say you don't need a plane ticket to visit yourself. You just sit within yourself, right? It's a free trip.
Yeah, so well said. Yeah,
and the best adventure one could ever take in their life. Basma, if you had to give us a call to action say there's an entrepreneur that's listening that may resonate with your story, or someone in the corporate environment that's like, I can't take another day at this job. What would your inspiration be for those types of people?
I would. Oh, it's a question I have to simplify like a whole 10 steps into something short. But I always say that you need to first listen to your body, see your body reactions, and that gives you an idea of your triggers. Because I think understanding where we feel discomfort is very important. And the moment we pinpoint, for example, if it's a job and you can't take another day, it might be that you have a certain relationship with your manager, your colleagues, the workplace, the culture. So you need to actually dive really deep and analyze all of it. What makes me uncomfortable in these different situations? Family relationships, friends relationships. And when you understand the triggers, those are the points where your stress goes up. And that's when you get into that freeze or flight or freeze mode. So once you understand that that's when your stress level goes up, you can know what can I do for my stress to go down and for me to close the loop. So for example, I don't know, it would be that you need to shake your hands and really take deep breaths and just at least make sure that the cortisol level, which is the stress hormone, doesn't stay up all the time. And of course, this work could be supported. So could be very well supported by a therapist, because I think if you feel unwell, go to the doctor, go to your GP, do blood tests, understand if you have any deficiencies, and then second, go to a therapist and say, I can't do this anymore, and then they start the journey with you.
Yes.
Because help is very important, and I know that it's not something that everyone can afford. There's different, sometimes you can afford, your insurance can help you, and so on. But when you can't, you absolutely can't afford any of these things, you need to audit your life. You need to see what are the points where you're experiencing that much discomfort, and for you to know what is something I can control and something I can't control, and how can I bridge the moments where I feel so defeated, what can I do for myself? And I also believe that when this starts happening, it's literally that your life is about to change to the better. But of course, you're going to have to go through a lot of pain before you get to that better.
Yeah.
That you're actually from the lucky ones, because a lot of people will just stay on autopilot and stay in that level of discomfort that they can ignore. But if you're at a level of discomfort that you can't ignore anymore, consider yourself lucky. It's time for you to upgrade, and it's time for you to do the work, and it's time for you to experience something new and more balanced, because your body is asking you to, hey, look at me, fix me. So yeah.
Beautiful. It just, right when you said, look at me, fix me, I just, again, imagine you walking around Istanbul, and your life in that moment, your body's like, it's time.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. I really think that was it. And it's so fascinating to me that it happened in Istanbul, because it's one of my favorite cities. And I feel very emotionally connected to it, emotionally, spiritually. I just feel very good when I am there. Turkey in general, but Istanbul specifically because of, just how it is. So it's also very meaningful that it happened there. and that my body was like, no, we need to look at this.
Basma, thank you so much for your vulnerability. The inspiration. I mean, I'm walking away with my heart so full, and just so thankful for the connection again that we made in Amsterdam. Again, shout out to Eventbrite, but also just continuing the connection, because that's the first part, networking event. But continuing the connection and the conversation is where the power is at. So I just want to say thank you again for being on today's show. And to all the listeners, if you have found Basma's story interesting, inspiring, please stay connected with her. Her information will be available. But also, if you would like to share your story, I would love to sit down and have a conversation about your health journey. If it's digestive care, you have been living with a chronic illness, or you have an empowering or inspiring story, your story is welcome here. Again, my name is Barbie Chapman, and so honored. Basma, thank you, and I'm wishing you all the best in your business and your continued health journey.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Barbie, for having me, and thank you for creating the space to talk about this. I think a lot of times we do have spaces to talk about mental health. I mean, it's good that we have it, but specifically to dive into the digestive system and talking about our stool, basically, and when you go to the bathroom and so on, I think it will help a lot of people going forward. And especially that it's something that we do all the time. So hopefully you do once a day or twice a day, but it's something that it's a very key point to take care of ourselves. So it's really great that you are working on this. And again, thanks for having me. Really enjoyed our talk today.
So fun. Thank you. And remember to look before you flush. Take care.
Want to share your story on the Poopism Podcast? Have a powerful, personal, or empowering health journey? I'd love to hear from you. If you're open to being a guest and sharing your story, email us at info@poopism.com. Visit www.poopism.com or DM me on Instagram.